What up, YouTube? Webhead Mike here, and Sit vis pacem, Parabellum. John Wick 3. Excellent follow-up to John Wick 2. Again, picking up right on the heels of the last movie. It continues the excellence of the choreography, action sequences, and the overall style that has been going on before. And while I'll admit this doesn't have the same emotional oomph that the previous two movies had, it does a lot more to build out the world that's happening here. There's clearly a lot more rules, a lot more lore that's not on, say, a surface glance. And why you would need to have like these multiple installments viewed in quick succession or, proximate to each other to really get the full scope of the story thus far. And John Wick 3 Parabellum certainly lives up to its name, especially considering admittedly, it's more of a skirmish, but they did in fact briefly go to war towards the end. An excellent continuation that comes on from this is the scenery. It is used expertly in every single combat sequence. It's always a conscientious part of things to use in the environment, hazards, any other dangers to avoid. It is so beautiful to see the overall craft that goes into the concern about the world around you, both as hazards and also as weapons. Another nice thing that was good in this was there was this theme of losing parts of yourself in order to continue going on. Now, spoilers minor, in Assassin's Creed, it was often emblematic of a graduation ceremony to cut off your ring finger so that way your hidden blade would be unobstructed when going out. In this movie, the assassins seem to do a similar thing, at least in John Wick's case, to show that he is ready to rid himself of his previous attachment while he's in service. And we see this because the man above the table that he meets keeps the ring after he pledges fealty. And then another interesting development was then later on when he gets finally back to the Continental, and Lance Riddick and Winston are there. He's presented with the choice that he could just fulfill the service that he pledged in killing Winston to reinstate himself and no longer be excommunicado. But then Winston, in this expert bit where he's just holding the gun in this amazingly neutral position, like it's tilted just enough that he still has some grip on it, but it's clearly being presented to John Wick the whole time, making it super clear that he could go out on this way, but he's really eager to have John Wick hear him out on what he wants to say. And a lot of it comes down to, sure, he could be alive and remember his wife and keep her memory alive through him, but in doing so, what would he become himself? Would he be reverting back to what he was before the marriage? Would he be stuck at this one point in just remembering the marriage? Or is there some way to move forward along with the memory? And that's when the unique choice presents itself and John Wick decides, yeah, you know what? I think we are going to go to war. That's when the adjudicator goes, okay, here we go. And there's this one brief line that Lance Riddick's character says about, the table seems to have improved armaments and armor. And then it shows when their strike team comes in at the Continental, and the Continental's security forces that are supplementing John Wick and Lance Riddick, they don't have the ability to pierce the armor. They can certainly disorient and disrupt them, but there's no way they're putting them in the ground before they can be put down too. So this is when John Wick has to get really creative about using his rounds to stun and disorient while he can get closer and try to shoot gaps into the armor, therefore bypassing their protection. And it takes a lot of effort to do this. And it was also neat seeing Halle Berry's character come into play with this, in the form of someone that he helped out at a crucial moment to make sure her daughter was okay. And now that he's excommunicado, comes in to make sure his own blood oath is fulfilled. Kind of interesting how that's what was happening in reverse in the previous movie. So it's nice to see that there's things in this world that they may get introduced in a previous movie, but they're not forgotten from the next one. I mean, and there's also some questions that might come up, such as, well, if you really wanted to shut down the high table, why don't you just go to where the secretaries are getting all these reports and sending out the excommunicados and kill orders? Well, they could do that, but as is constantly mentioned in the movie, they live by rules, and rules are what separates them from the animals. And there is always consequences to your actions, so you have to think about that before going forward. So it's neat to see this sort of code of honor that there is among these thieves, rogues, assassins, spies, or whatever you want to call them. So yeah, a solid movie overall. Not nearly as good as the previous two, but I was engaged throughout all of it. I give it a 7.5 maybe out of 10. A solid recommend, and definitely required viewing if like me, you want to go watch John Wick 4. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Are you new to John Wick? Not so? Did I miss anything? Hit on any points you liked? Let me know. And until next time, Webhead Mike, out.